Hello, I am Orchestra, and today I'm going to be explaining how I speedrun Skyward Sword New Game Plus for the Nintendo Wii in under 7 minutes. This will be a very rapid-fire explanation as this is a very brief run. Starting off, the game has various cinematic cutscenes at the beginning which we can skip due to playing in Hero Mode. Hero Mode is a special bonus mode which changes details in the game, including adding cutscene skips to most cinematics. Starting off, we roll to approach the door and leave Link's room, slowly making our way to the outside world. As we do this, we're moving entirely with rolls because in this game you walk slower when you're indoors even if you're sprinting. However, rolls do not have this limitation. In Skyward Sword you have two fast movement options, sprinting or rolling. Sprinting is ordinarily the ideal option due to how you lose less stamina than rolls consume, while moving at a similar speed. Entering the outside, we actually input a roll to help us burst into a sprint, as rolls also fit a niche of helping us gain momentum from standing still, faster than simply beginning the sprint. As you may have noticed, the speedrun is not being done in English. We're playing in Japanese so that the text is faster, as this game's maximum text speed prints text at a rate of 1 character per frame, or 1 letter output every 30th of a second. Every second counts in a speedrun, and since Japanese is a much more condensed language than English in text form, it's ideal for the run. At this point in the game, we're supposed to meet all the characters, obtain the sword, and help save our Loftwing from the resident best man, Bruce. However, we're instead going to sprint over to the top of the town, make our way to the top of this wooden post to gain height, before throwing Link off of the post into the bottom of the cliff, enough distance to trigger fall damage. We're going to proceed to throw our hero off of the cliff, over and over, taking damage each time, climbing back to the top and jumping down in each succession. This is in order to reduce our health to 0 for a helpful trick. Playing on Hero Mode helps here as well, as Hero Mode allows us to take double damage, which is great for reaching our goal, Game Over screen. With one final hop, we launch Link to his death, and the madness begins. Once we die, we're going to be presented with the option to exit to the title screen, or start over and respawn Link. Here, I'm going to press the physical reset button on the console at the same time I choose the option on the menu to respawn Link. This triggers a glitch which respawns Link and loads the title screen at the same time, creating the unintended result of allowing us to control Link on the title screen, known as Back in Time. Upon entering the title screen, Link falls off of the world and the game respawns him, and after a quick cinematic, we can control Link fully while having access to the title screen functionality such as opening save files. From here, we're going to walk to the nearest bird statue and Skyloft, which are what allows us to save. With this, we save the game while also opening the file select menu, which loads our third save file into memory. This applies data from the third save file to the current action of saving, and as we also start a new save file at the same time, the data from the third save file loaded into memory is now saved to that new save file. Right now, we're currently loading into a new game save file which is far from vanilla, with tons of data from that previously mentioned third save file being brought over. Conveniently, our third save file is a near 100% save file. This technique is ordinarily banned in normal 90% speedruns because of how broken it is, so this is a separate speedrun, known by some as foul duping 90% or a glitched 90%, and it acts like a new game plus of sorts. Going into the world, we immediately equip the Hylian shield that we possess so we can use it for the coming battle. We also have a potion active at the moment which gives us invincibility for a few moments, which will help us avoid fall damage later, and you can see it denoted by the pink glowing hearts on the top left. With that, we immediately launch into the Loftwing and head into the sky. In the sky, we fly over to the Farron region, which holds the gate to the past, and within the past, the final boss. Something I left out of explaining earlier is that while speedruns are usually done on Japanese for text reasons, Japanese is not the version of this game with the most glitches, as that claim is held by the English version, specifically English 1.0. For Zelda games like Skyward Sword and Twilight Princess, the release priorities focus on releasing these games first in America, as that's where the bulk of the sales was. So, those games have slightly more glitches on those earlier English builds rather than the early 1.0 Japanese builds. Making our way down, we choose to spawn near the sealed grounds in Farron, and once we're here, we pull out the claw shots, which is an item we actually have, and use it to save some time in climbing, sprinting the whole time towards the sealed temple. Now that we're in Farron, our goal is to head to Demise, who is the big boss and big bad currently residing in the past. Heading on inside, we sprint towards the Gate of Time, which is fully ready for us to use since we have again pulled in tons of data from the other save file. With a quick walk into the gate, we travel through time with the cinematic and make our way over to the final area in the game. After traveling through time, we're in the past version of the sealed temple which, after going through this door at the front of the room, grants us access to the sealed ground, one holding danger in the form of Demise. Despite only starting 5 minutes ago, we're already hopped from one save file to another new one, gotten all the way here, ready to challenge the game's final battle. It's worth explaining how combat works here. The battle with Demise involves a lot of ridiculous hand swinging, since this game's combat has a heavy emphasis on 360-degree hand tracking with motion controls. One fatal flaw of the technology used for motion controls on the Wii is that it easily becomes useless and uncalibrated if you move too fast, too much, which becomes difficult to avoid in combat since that encourages you to, of course, swing your hands a lot. One example is that spin attacks in this game do a very high amount of damage, but require shaking the controller on both your left and right hand, and doing that without breaking your controller's calibration is somewhat of an art. In the final fight, hand swinging and all, we have very coordinated strategies, opening with 2 intentionally deflected strikes which then lowers Demise's guard, allowing us to follow up with attacks of our own. Repeating the strategy enters us in a loop in which we can do damage endlessly as long as we time our parries well. With that, we easily enter phase 2 of the battle. Phase 2 operates a bit differently from phase 1, with Demise electrifying his sword, which makes you take damage if your sword hits his. For this phase, we're going to have to focus on dodging initially, with 2 backflips baiting him into charging towards us, and after this, he becomes vulnerable. With Demise on the ground, we charge up a lightning strike, which is required to unleash the final blow. From here, we unleash our strike, push him to the ground, and then unleash the final blow. And that's it. Thanks for watching.